Mapping out your MVP, user flow. Now that we learned what an MVP is and how important it is for your business process, it is time you start mapping out how you will build your MVP. So, how do you choose and refine the business problem and assumptions you want to test out for your MVP? You need to take some necessary steps before developing an MVP. Firstly, define your problem. Secondly, identify your target audience. And thirdly, create your set of minimum features. Now, what's an important feature throughout this whole process? Your user. By aligning your product around your user's problem, you will be able to define and build your MVP more clearly. Let's take a step back and define an MVP again. An MVP, which is the minimal viable product, is a basic, launchable version of the product that supports minimal but must-have features. This usually helps us understand the product's value proposition. Your MVP may be no more than a landing page or a service with an appearance of automation. And although it's not yet tangible, it should be able to be fully manual behind the scenes. It should be fast, attract early adopters, and achieve product-market fit from early on. So how should an entrepreneur go about building and using an MVP? There are three main elements you should focus on while creating your MVP. First, know your objective or problem statement. When you know this, you are able to define your product's purpose. Second, your ideation information. This includes user personas, user stories, and epics, the latter of which is basically a large group of user stories that can be broken down into smaller stories. Third, your analysis. This includes any assumptions, constraints, and success metrics that you can derive for your product. Now you are ready to map out your product's user flow or user journey. But how do you do that? Mapping out your product is basically showing your design process, which is an important MVP stage. It is important to keep in mind that your design process should look at the MVP from the user's perspective, starting from opening the platform or app to the final process, such as making a purchase or delivery. Looking at your user's perspective is basically mapping out your user flow. The user flow makes sure nothing is missing while keeping the future product and its user satisfaction in mind. To define the user flow, we must first define the stages of the process. The focus should shift towards basic tasks such as finding and buying the product or managing or receiving orders, rather than looking at specific features. These are all the goals that the end users will have while using the product. Once these procedure stages are clearly laid out, it is now time to define the features of each stage. Stay tuned for our next video to know the specific stages in laying out your MVP's user journey.